Include that in the beginning of that song.
I love that, thank you. Yeah, it is sort of a statement of intent, and I think Brutal just as an opening song is very much like, this is what the album is going to be like, this is the state of mind I am in while I am writing this album. But actually the I Want It to Be Messy thing was sort of an accident. I wanted there to be like crazy weird drums at the end of Brutal, like it was sort of like falling apart. And so Dan was, my producer Dan was recording me like playing all these weird drums, and I couldn't get it right, and I was like, no Dan, like I want it to be like messy. And he just like sampled that and put it at the beginning, which I thought was so brilliant. So it was an accident, but yeah, I love that being the first line that you hear on the record, because I think it's so indicative of the record as a whole.
Totally. And then, you know, the record is also very personal, you're very vulnerable on the record, and now that it's out, you know, how does it feel to have those emotions out there for everybody to listen to?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, at times it's a little scary. I definitely talk about like my deepest, darkest secrets and insecurities on Sour, which is sort of strange to, you know, be like, here, you guys can have this. Like anyone who wants to listen to it can listen to it. It's really empowering seeing like girls online like react to a song like Enough for You or something and be like, you know, that's exactly how I felt. You know what I mean? That makes me feel so seen and so much less alone, and it's just really cool. And yeah, I think it's a brave thing to sort of put out music like that. But I'm really happy.
I want to hear about your musical upbringings. Like, what artists sort of inspired you to start songwriting in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about how our parents always played No Doubt.
Yes.
Love Gun's Funny. At my shoot that I was just doing upstairs, we were just like blasting Return of Saturn. But yeah, I definitely grew up on artists like that, like alt rock 90s sort of bands. My parents love like Pearl Jam and the White Stripes and Green Day and stuff like that. My first concert was a Weezer concert.
That's so cool.
So my parents are like very in that sort of lane of music, but I also like really fell in love with like country music from a young age too. I think I really like the songwriting and storytelling of it. You know, maybe when I was so young I didn't really realize that was what I liked, but yeah, so stuff like that.
As you were growing up, how did songwriting kind of become an outlet for you?
Yeah, it's sort of weird. I've always written songs. It's like always been a thing. There was never like a moment where I was like, I'm gonna start writing songs. Like literally I was like 4 years old and my parents have like videos of me just like making up random stuff. And so it's always just been something that I did. I think it wasn't until I was like 9 or 10 years old or something like that where I learned how to play piano and learned how to do chords and like actually started writing them down and recording them and like listening to them back and trying to get better. But yeah, it's always been a thing, and especially lately, you know, going through so much, like being an older teenager, there's just so many like weird feelings that go along with that you know don't really happen to you when you're like 10 years old. So yeah, writing about sort of growing up and, you know, first heartbreaks and, you know, lessons like that, that's been really helpful to have songwriting as an outlet.
So you've been acting for a while on shows like Bizaardvark and High School Musical, the musical, the series. When you were growing up, did you want to be an actor or a singer first?
You know, I've always felt like I am sort of a singer-songwriter who sort of fell into acting and really loves that too. Music has always been like my thing ever since I was so little. But yeah, I really enjoy films and filmmaking and stuff like that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do in the future, TBD, but yeah, I've always sort of considered myself like a songwriter first.
Definitely, and we kind of get the best of both worlds on High School Musical because you sing and you act. But when did you kind of start thinking about maybe making that transition to having more of a music career?
Yeah, I think that's always been something that I wanted, just didn't really know how to like actually make it happen. But I wrote a song in High School Musical called All I Want, and I wrote it by myself, which was really cool. It was a very strange opportunity. You know, they were like, here, you're 16 years old and have no writing credits, why don't you write this song for us? And it actually did really well. And so that's sort of how everything happened. But yeah, I've always sort of wanted it, and I've always sort of been writing songs, but writing songs for myself too. Yeah, because I think that's very important.